Everybody, welcome to another edition of our Skype Shiur. I'd like to thank again Joe Nahari and Megaba for arranging this Shiur. We are in Torah Secrets Synagogue and we are studying tonight Parashat Matot. I'd like to dedicate tonight's Shiur Lelo Nishmat Rivka Bat Shaina. Also, my wife's grandfather today is Lelazar ben Sarah. Ruach Hashem Tenechenu ben Gan Eden Amen. And we want to wish Chaim Tovim, Refuah Shlema for Gabriel Adam Bat Leah Malka, also for my mom. Tikva Ojini Bat Rosette, and for Elisha Bat Sheva Bat Rivka. So, very exciting parasha, and I want to draw your attention. I've got a lot of very nice things to say here. Parashat Matot. If you go to chapter Lamed Bet, Perek Lamed Bet, it's in Shishi, the end of the parasha. And I want to start just a little bit of an episode in Parashat of the parasha. And see what tips we can get from it. Have you got a Chumash? Kobi, do you have a Chumash with you?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So, Umiknei Rav. You want to read Perek Lamed Bet, Pasuk Aleph. Well, let's just read a few psukim together, then we're going to ask a few questions on it, and then we can see what we can learn from it. חבוד. ומקנה רב היה לבני ראובן ובני גד. עצום מאוד, ויראו את ארץ יעזר ואת ארץ גלעד, והנה המקום מקנה. So let's just explain what happened. Am Yisrael, they're ready now to go into Eretz Yisrael. And we have an episode of the tribe of Reuven and the tribe of Gad. And they, before going to Eretz Yisrael, they changed their mind. They say to Moshe Rabbeinu, listen, we've got a better idea. We want to stay here. Let's read the parasha. It's a very interesting parasha. And we'll see there's a lot of relevance for us today. They had a lot. What's mikneh mean? What does it mean to have mikneh rav?
A lot of cattle.
They had a lot of cattle. So why is that relevant? Who cares how much cattle they had? So let's read. They had a lot of cattle. Livnei Gad atzum me'od. Didn't just have like 100 or 1,000. They talk about tremendous amounts, hundreds of thousands. They saw the land of Eretz Gilad. Here is Gilad becoming famous. Eretz Ya'ezer and Eretz Gilad. They said, this is a beautiful land. They fell in love with the land. We want to stay here. They came to Moshe Rabbeinu and said, listen, we have a plan. עטרות ודיבון ויעזר, ונמרה וחשבון ואלה, ושבם ונבור באון. All these are names of places. הארץ אשר יקרא השם לפני עדת בני ישראל, ארץ מקנה היא ולעבדיך מקנה. This is a great land to raise cattle. And then they come with the request. ויאמרו אם נמצאנו חן בעיניך, יותן את הארץ הזאת לעבדיך, לאחוזה, אל תעבירנו את הירדן. This is a way of asking nicely. Please give us this land. We're happy with this. We're happy to give up Eretz Yisrael. Just give us a little bit of this land, and don't let us cross over. Now we can just stop here. I mean, the parasha continues. Moshe says to them, "Well, let me ask you a different question. What is Moshe Rabbeinu's response to Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven?" He said, okay, listen, you're very happy being here. It's very nice for you. What about your brother? You're going to see him get out of the
Rabbi Netanel, just one question before.
Okay.
So if we turn a few pages back, there was an agrala. So how is it possible that there was an agrala and now they see the land and they say that's the land we want? How does it work? But there wasn't an agrala already. So me'at, arbe. Now suddenly they decide they want this land.
I'm not sure what do you mean by there was an agrala. Where was the agrala? And in the times of Yeshua ben Nun, there was a chalukat haaretz. Okay, thank you.
פרק למד ג'. Yes. והתנחלתם את הארץ בגורל,
Oh, very good.
לרב תרבו את נחלתו ולמעט תמיד נחלתו. That was before they came to Moshe and told him, look, we want that piece of land because it suits our, because we have a lot of cattle.
פרק ל"ג, פסוק?
פסוק נ"ד?
נ"ד. Okay, I'm not sure, Gilad.
You understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, I'm not sure. First of all, it's in the Parashat Mas'eh, your pasuk, and here we're in Parashat Matot. I don't know why you're assuming it becomes beforehand. It could be that that's the chronological order. I'm not sure. Let me think about that, Gilad.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask you on a simple, straightforward level. You're Moshe Rabbeinu, Gilad, okay? And I come to you, me and Kobe and Meir. I said, listen, we left Eretz Mitzrayim. Right? We went into Midbar. Okay? For 40 years, we're crossing the desert. Okay? And we're all waiting to go into Eretz Yisrael. And then they say to you, listen, we're happy to hear. Here's fine. This is good enough for us. We like this. We want to stay in. What's your response as Moshe Rabbeinu?
But I think that Moshe's response was the expected response, no?
Also, under normal, I understand. Moshe's response is, listen, very nice, you're happy for yourself. What about your brothers? Okay. And I accept that. And then they make a deal with Moshe Rabbeinu. Listen, we're going to go in. Don't worry, we're not trying to escape the army. We're going to go. We'll go fight with everyone. And then we're going to come back. Okay? But here, what's your reason for giving up Eretz Yisrael? What's your reason for leaving Eretz Yisrael? For your sheep? This is what we're dreaming of for years. For 40 years, the whole generation of the Midbar died, and they didn't have the zchut to go into Eretz Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu cried, and he prayed 515 tefillot to go into Eretz Yisrael. How many people crave to go into Eretz Yisrael, and you have it now, and you're just willing to give it up for your sheep? What's the calculation over here of Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven? What are they trying to do over here? And this is the main question that everyone talks about, all the Mefarshim. What's Reuven and Gad so important that they see in their sheep that they're willing to give up Eretz Yisrael for? That's question number one. Now, question number two, side point, and we'll get to this at the end of this video. Who's older? Who was older, Gad or Reuven?
Reuven.
Reuven. So who should come first?
Reuven.
Reuven. What's the pasuk say? Ve'yavou bnei Gad or bnei Reuven? Why is God mentioned before Reuven? Okay, so we've got two questions to answer.
So we need to. So for God, we could look at the brachot of Yosef. I think that would be a good place to start, or Yaakov. I think that could be a good place to start.
Okay, so I'm gonna finish with that question, but let me just go back to the first question. Why does Shevet Gad and Reuven? Why did they see it more important to look after their sheep and to look after their cattle than to go into Eretz Yisrael and enjoy all the mitzvot of Eretz Yisrael? There's certain mitzvot which is tluyot Eretz Yisrael. Okay, the laws of Shemitah, the laws of
and this won't apply in Gilad, and they don't.
Eretz Gilad. No, Eretz Gilad. So some things yes, some things no. Maybe some things darabanan or doraita, but it's giving up of an Eretz Yisrael. So this is the main question we want to address. Now I don't know if you remember in previous years. Last year we spoke about it on a simple level, superficial level, which is very superficial looking at it. It just seems that they were more concentrated about their own parnasa than kedusha of Eretz Yisrael. That means, and you have people nowadays like that. We're happy here. My business is here. My parnasa is here. My assets are here. My property is here. I'm living in Chutz La'aretz. I'm not interested too much in going to Eretz Yisrael. Maybe when Mashiach comes, I'm coming. Okay, but here, Bnei Gad, we're going in to Eretz Yisrael. They have opportunity, and they have nothing established, and they're willing to give up everything for that. So last year we spoke about the derech of the Chassidut, that really they wanted to remain with Moshe Rabbeinu. Because Moshe Rabbeinu was not allowed to go inside, and they had all the miracles happening for them with Moshe Rabbeinu, and they wanted to stay close to Moshe Rabbeinu on the other side. They didn't want to go in. But on a simple level, you see, what were they looking for? What was their attitude? Just to worry about their own Parasha. And this is, I'm going to give a few answers, 4 answers to this question. And I'm going to start with the story. This is the first answer. There was a group of business people in New York, in America. And they were very busy business people. They didn't have time. And they hired a speaker to speak about time management. Get these people on the phones the whole day with their gadgets, and they didn't have any time spent. They wanted to speak about time management. So they said to this guy, you go have an hour speech. He said, listen, we're not giving you an hour, we're giving you 10 minutes. 10 minutes, if you're so good at time management, let's see how you can give over your message in 10 minutes. So what does he do? The guy comes into the lecture, everyone's there on the business meeting, all the big chiefs, directors, managers, and he comes in with a glass jar. He puts it on the table in front of them. Okay, everyone, he says, is the jar full or empty? He says, this is empty. It's a glass jar, it's empty. He says, okay. He takes out a few rocks from his bag and puts them into the glass, and he fills up to the top. And he says, now is the jar empty? He says, no, now it's full. Okay, it's full. Then he goes into his bag and he brings out small pebbles, small stones. And he throws in a few small stones in between the big ones. And he says, now is it full? He says, yep, now it's for sure, now it's full. Then he takes sand from his bag and he fills up sand right up to the top. All in between the holes, he fills up sand. And then he asks everyone in the room, now is the jar full? He said, now it's for sure full. He says, are you sure? He says, yes. And then he takes from his bag a bottle of water and he pours it into the jar. And the water fills in all the holes, airspace between the sand and the gravel and the stones. And then he says, gentlemen, how do you manage your time? He says, you have your big chunks of time, and then you got your small moments of time, and you want to utilize every second of the time. And he says, gentlemen, but that's not the lesson I want to teach you. He says, you have to be organized and schedule in your time with the priorities first. He says, if you put first in the sand and first the water and first the small stones, you have no time for the big stones. The big stones are the important things that you have in life. What is the most important? If you don't put them in at the beginning, you're not going to have space for them later on. And this is it with everything. It's just a physical law. You've got to put in the big things first. If you're trying to put things in your freezer, you put in the big things first. If you're trying to fix your boot of the car and putting luggage in, you have to put the big pieces in first. But when we're talking about in your life, you have a limited amount of time. So you want to make sure that you put in the most important things first. And you don't want to get miscarried away by other things. And here we see that Shevet Gad and Shevet Reuven, what are they thinking about? They're thinking about the cattle and the sheep and the Parasha. And we can get carried away with that, even nowadays, 2019. So we've got our business running away, we've got people calling us the whole time, people trying to take away from our time. But we need to make sure that we put in the big things first. Put in our family first. Put our mitzvot first, the Torah. We have to make sure we've got time for the Shiur Torah. If we don't put a schedule in the Shiur Torah, we can go a few years of our life without any Shiur Torah. What have we changed? We haven't become anything. You reach the end of your life. What have you studied? What mitzvot have you done? Masim tovim. What chesed have you done? You missed the main point. So here is the first lesson that we can learn from this. We have to make sure that we put in and we schedule the most important things in our lives in first. The pasuk says in Mishlei. Let me just show you the pasuk. The pasuk in Mishlei. Nachala mevahelet barishona, ve'acharita lo tevorach. That means sometimes you go, okay, this is urgent, you have to do this. This is urgent, you have to do that. But is it important? It's an urgent phone call. It might be urgent, but it might not be important. He said, Bnei Gad, when they saw the land, they got all excited. Oh, this is perfect land for our business, for our cattle. We can become very rich from this. And they did become very rich. And they just gave that up. And it was Nachala Mevohelet. What does Nachala Mevohelet mean? It's an inheritance or property, Mevohelet, which comes from Bahala. How do you say in English, Bahala? Maybe you say in panic or in fright or without thinking. Nachala Bahala. They just is immediate impulse. That's Bahala. They said, let's go for it. This is a good business opportunity. But what's more important, going into Eretz Yisrael or not? And the pasuk says, "Va'acharita lo tevorach." If you make an important decision on impulse in the beginning, "Va'acharita lo tevorach," it will not be blessed. Now, if you look at the Baal HaTurim, I don't know if you have a chumash with Baal HaTurim, but on the pasuk he says that in this parasha 8 times is mentioned Bnei Gad, Bnei Reuven, and he says on this pasuk that they went for nachala mevohelet, they went on impulse, and because of that, the end was not tevorach. What happened? He says 8 generations before the Galut, before all of Am Yisrael left Eretz Yisrael, the first people to leave Eretz Yisrael was the Shvatim of Gad and Reuven. And had they been in Eretz Yisrael, they would have had the influence of Eretz Yisrael, they would have stayed in for another 8 generations. 8 generations is something like maybe 100 or 200 years. And they left early because of their rush on the impulse. You know, when you make an important decision to buy a property, buy a house, or where you want to live, or who you want to marry, you don't make a decision on impulse. You have to make a thought-out decision. Are you doing the right thing? So that is the first lesson we have to learn from the Parasha. But I want to ask you a bigger question, and this is really mind-boggling. Moshe Rabbeinu as a leader, why doesn't he say to Bnei Gad, what are you guys doing? What are you thinking? You're living Eretz Yisrael for your bit of Parnasa? Go into Eretz Yisrael. It's a beautiful land. You have all the mitzvot there. You have Kedushat Eretz Yisrael. Avira shel Eretz Yisrael is machkim. Think about your olam haba. Think about everything. You have emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Parnasa min hashamayim. What are you doing thinking of leaving Eretz Yisrael for this? Why doesn't Moshe Rabbeinu come and be a leader and to teach them right from wrong? Why doesn't he go out and present to them? You're making a mistake here. Forget your brothers, okay. But what about you? How are you willing to give up Eretz Yisrael for your parnasa, for your business? Where is your calculation? You completely misprioritized the right things to do. Right? Do you appreciate the question?
Yeah, but I think that again, Moshe saw the bigger picture, so he was much more afraid about the moral impact on the other tribes than their own.
100%. That's very legitimate, and I understand that and appreciate that and I agree with that. But where is your concern for Shevet Gad? How do you just let them get away with that and not do anything? When you speak up, why didn't Hashem say to them, "Listen, you're doing it's not the right thing to do"? Oh, very
No,
nice.
but Meir, maybe I would try to build on what you say, or try to maybe say that Moshe thought that it's between them and Amakom, so it's not his business to judge them, as long as he's responsible for the people, not for their cheshbon with Hashem.
Okay, we have a little guest. As my daughter needs to go to sleep. One second. I'm just gonna send I'm just gonna say goodnight and go to mom. Yidi shalom. Yidi shalom. Okay, we'll be back in a minute.
Or maybe because maybe at that point Yeshua was already in charge. Maybe Moshe felt that it's not his place anymore. I'm not sure. Maybe because Yeshua was already in charge at that point.
she was a got upset that we didn't let her in the show. So where are we? Does anyone have good suggestions? So Meir said, what was you saying?
Maybe, sorry.
Go on.
Maybe because Yeshua was in charge already, so Moshe was not in charge anymore.
Because Yeshua was in charge?
At that point, yes. So Moshe felt that it's not his place. Or not, I'm not sure.
Okay, so then the same question is on Yeshua. Why didn't Yeshua step up? But what did you say, Meir? Okay, very interesting. Okay, we're going to come back to that. Okay, Kobe, what do you have to say, Kobe? Let's hear from Kobe. No? Okay, I don't know. Maybe Kobe's not with us. So,
Hi, Rabbi.
Mo, you have something to add? Let's hear from you, Mo.
I don't know if got something to add exactly, but if I'm looking at modern Israel, so we know there are a lot of Jewish living outside of Israel that support and donate to the existence of Israel from the outside.
Okay.
So maybe Moshe acknowledged that, in a way, if the two Shvatim will be outside, like the Mizrach LaYarden, maybe in a way, like he was thinking, if they're outside of Israel, they can be more benefits to Am Israel and Eretz Israel from outside.
Very nice. Very interesting idea. I like that, Mo. Mo was saying you can have allies on the other side and it could be more beneficial for the people in Eretz Israel. I like that. But what about for the people themselves? For Bnei Gad? What's going to benefit for them to give up on Eretz Israel?
But I think that there is something else. Maybe, if I think what was Moshe's alternative? So, he could. Sorry.
Yeah, one at a time. Go on, Gilad. Finish, Gilad.
He could react it much more strongly, and then he would scare them off or push them away, and then he would say, "You know what? We are staying here, and that's it." Or take a softer approach. Tell him, "You know what? Look, I'm not judging you, but you need to understand that you cannot leave your brothers to fight by themselves. So because that can."
So I like that. So good. So you're going similar ways. Okay, so this also got to do with my first answer, and this is going to be on the lesson of what Meir said also and Gilad. To make a point. Go on. So he understands the business. Yes, yeah. This is compassion.
Very nice.
Very good. So listen, I'm going to share with you 3 different approaches. Now, the Jewish mind and the Jewish Torah, the 3 answers I'm giving, some of them is contradicting each other. But the Torah, the mind can understand 2 things independently, which is opposing each other. And the Torah, Shivim Panim La Torah, all of it is Torah Temet. And the reason why we're studying, what was the reason for them, is to try and get something for us as well. So the first approach is the Gorei Ha'ari, the Talmidei Arizal. And this is going on the lines of what Meir and Gilad was saying. And this is similar to the Bederech Sh'adam Rotze Lelech Ba Molichin Oto. Chazal tell us, if that's what you want to do, then Hashem is going to let you do it. But the Talmidei Arizal, they go one step further. And they said that Hashem didn't want them to go into Eretz Israel. He said they got so excited by the land outside of Eretz Israel, and that's what they wanted for their money. And he said, okay, if that's what you want, you're willing to give up all the Kedusha of Eretz Israel for a successful business. If that's what you want, I'm going to let you go for that. And this is a very fundamental principle in Avodat Hashem by the Chazon Ish. He says this to Yesod. He said if a person wants to do mitzvot and he finds it easy, comes to him easily, then he shares that Hashem is happy with him, and Hashem goes with him. And if when he wants to do an avera, he finds it difficult. He tries and it doesn't work out for some reason. So that's the way he wants to go. But if a person trying to do a mitzvah and he finds it hard, it doesn't work out, he wants to go to shiur and he just can't make it every week. A different reason he can't make the shiur. and he wants to do an avera, and it's easy for him. He does plenty of averot very easily. But coming to the kedusha, coming to Bet Knesset, to find it hard. So what does that show? That's the way you really want to go. Where's your genuine ratzon? Masbiya lechol chai ratzon. The koach ratzon is very powerful. And that's b'derech sh'adam rotzeh lalech. Bam molichin oto. So says the good Rabbi Yuri, they weren't so much interested in Eretz Yisrael in the first place. So the Ari says, if you're not interested in Eretz Yisrael, no, I'm not interested in persuading you. I'm not going to convince you. When you're coming for kedusha and you want to have your olam haruchani, your spiritual world, you want your neshama to connect, it has to come from your ratzon. If you don't want it, no one's going to beg you for it. No one's going to come and convince you and persuade you.
But if
that's what you have to choose. It has to come from you. You have to want it. If you want it, then He will help you. Then Hashem will open it. You show Hashem you want to take the first step, then Hashem will make it easy for you. But here, they said they didn't want it. You were so excited about the money. Okay, that's what you want. It's your choice. Okay, I'm willing to go with you. So that is the first approach. And this is almost like a, it shows them in a negative light. And I'm saying what we need to comprehend from that, and what we need to learn is that it's a big merit to come into the Eretz Yisrael. Like it's a zchut to have a shiur, it's a zchut to go into Eretz Yisrael, and you have to merit that. And if you don't really want it, then we're not going to have that zchut. So that is the first approach, and I've got two other approaches, and you see it just turns around the picture in a different way. Gilad, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, well, if you think of the last 2,000 years and the fact that, the vast majority of our people lived outside of Israel, including some of the greatest rabbis.
Because of the galut, yeah.
Because of the galut, but some of them had the means, and obviously they understood the importance of it, and they didn't do aliyah. So, and it's...
So there's many...
It's problematic, yes?
No, so here we can explain differently. I'll give you one example, the Ben Ish Chai. Ben Ish Chai lived in Baghdad in Iraq, and he writes also in his Farim how much he craves to come to Eretz Yisrael and how he wishes he wants to leave everything, just go to Eretz Yisrael, like Moshe Rabbeinu, for the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael. And he says, the only reason why I'm staying is because I cannot leave the community and the Kehillah, which needs me and needs my leadership. And that was the center of Torah. But also the Gaon Rivena, how much he craved to go to Eretz Yisrael. And maybe big Talmidei Chachamim and big rabbis, they wanted to, but for the reasons of the galut, like you said, they had the means, but they had other calculations to make. Here we see the two Shvatim on the border of entering Eretz Yisrael. Everyone's going in. They just need to follow. Yeah, they got nothing to lose. There's no reason holding them back. What's holding them back? Says the pasuk, Miknei Rav Hayalem. They had a lot of cattle and they wanted it for business. So that's the reason what we said over here. But I want to share with you a different approach, and this is going to turn things around, 180 degrees. The Midrash says, and then you appreciate how really Reuven and Gad were big tzaddikim. You remember the story of Vayelech Reuven b'nei Ktsir Chitim v'yimtza dudaim. Do you remember the story?
Yeah, and they went to bring it to his mother.
Very good. He went to bring it to his mother. So first of all, Rashi says over there, why was it Ktsir Chitim? Why was that the season? So the Midrash, he brings the Midrash by Reshit Rabbah. He says that it was a time, it was Sadesh al Hefker, and after the Ktsir Chitim had finished, and these Dudaim, it was from the Mufkar. That means it didn't belong to anyone. It was Hefker. I don't know how to say Hefker in English. It has no owner. It was the end of the season, and it was free for anyone to take. And why did Reuven wait till that season? Because he was very careful from Gezel. He was very makpid on Gezel. He didn't want to take from anything which didn't belong to him. So he therefore waited till he makes Tzichitim to take the Da'im from the Hefker. So after the Midrash says, like Gilad said, he first took it to his mother, and here you see how much respect he had from his mom. He didn't even taste them before he gave it to his mom. But the point over here is we see that Reuven was very careful on a makpid on the mitzvah and isur of stealing, of taking things which doesn't belong to you. The Gemara says that a person should, when he said he shouldn't actually raise cattle Be'emat Daka in Eretz Israel, because the grazing of the sheep, they go around in the fields. And he says, "Ve'mod kashe lezaher min hagezel." In Eretz Israel, you have to be very careful not to be stolen with gezel. And Bnei Reuven, that they had so much cattle and so much sheep, how are you going to feed all of them in Eretz Israel? It's going to be impossible to have that in your own field and be careful from gezel. That means the whole calculations of Reuven was, listen, very nice. We just received the Torah. We have to be careful from gezel even more than we were before. In Eretz Israel, it's even more careful to keep from Torah. How are we going to keep away from gezel? Look how much cattle we have. We are responsible for them, and we are responsible for what they eat. And we have to make sure that they eat only kosher food which is not stolen. How can we take them into Eretz Yisrael when there's not enough grain? He says, in here, on Ever HaYarden, we've got all this land, which is very good. That's what the Pasuk says. It testifies on them. It says, Rav Mikne, this is the place which is suitable for land. He said, we understand Moshe Rabbeinu, and we can protect us from Gezel. That means the whole point of the whole story, of the whole episode of Reuven, was in order to keep the commandment of the Torah of Gezel. So here is a very underlying fundamental principle.
But where is God here?
What? Oh, very good. We'll come together in a minute. Good question, Gilad. But here we just see the principle that before you want to add on Kedusha of Eretz Israel and all the Ma'alot and very good, but first keep the Torah, Lo Tigzol. You have a cattle, you are responsible. He says, okay, I would like to go into Eretz Israel. It's the best thing. I'm willing to go in and fight for everyone, but I have to protect my cattle and stop from going together. Where is God? So God also had a lot of bracha of Mikneh, and he went along with Reuven. Now, if you look at the tribes, the flag of the tribes of Reuven had two tribes with him. Who was with him? Shimon and Gad. Okay? And he was very influenced by, Reuven was influenced, Gad was influenced by Reuven, and they were both very rich, and they both had a lot of Mikneh. And God came along with his, listen, I'm with you on this idea. You're right. We have a lot of cattle. We can't go in and be responsible for them. We have to have the land over here. We're going in with them. Question is, what about Shimon? Why was Shimon not there? So Shimon, and here is the main, the line of the Shiur. You want to record this? Shimon was poor. Shimon did not have much cattle. The rich ones was Gad and Reuven. Why?
I think that relates to the bracha of Yaakov. Not bracha.
Excellent. Go on, what's the bracha?
Don't remember, but the fact that they acted impulsively, they acted with impulse, which
exactly. Excellent. They acted on impulse, and that's what comes back to the Pasuk in Mishlei. That Nachalat mevohelet barishona acharit lo tevarech. You do not have a bracha if you act on impulse. But more than that, what does Yaakov Avinu say to them? Arur apam. What's Arur apam?
So that applies for Shimon and Levi, both of them. The one that
Shimon and Levi Arur apam.
Yeah.
What does Arur apam mean? What's cursed there? Arur apam. What's apam?
It's the patient.
Their anger, their patience. They get angry very quickly. Shimon and Levi, be'apam arur, they killed all of Shechem because they got angry. When a person gets angry, what happens? He loses all parnasah. He said they're not successful. Shimon, what was the land of Shimon in Eretz Israel? He got the southern part. Where Midbar Yehuda is, so underneath the Midbar, that is the Eretz of Shimon. It's the land of Beersheba. The northern central part. All the other tribes got sent to the Kafachim. He says like this, that the Yom Amasugal, to get angry, is Erev Shabbat. And I'm going to explain this a little bit. When Hashem sees a Jew and he wants to give him Parnasa, he wants to give him a shefa of Parnasa, what does he do? He gives him a nisayon of anger. He says if he passes the nisayon of anger, he gets shefa bracha. If he gets angry, he blows it, he loses everything. If he just gets a little bit angry, still get it a little bit. But when a person gets angry, the anger, that is what loses all Parnasa. And Shimon and the Levi, they were cursed, and that's what they lost. And why does it make sense on Shabbat? The Erev Shabbat is Makor HaBracha. Shabbat is what brings you everything Parnasa. So the Yetzer Hara sees a person preparing for Shabbat. And the Zohar says, a person doesn't even know how much reward he gets just for polishing his shoes Lichvot Shabbat. That's what the Zohar says. And he sees the Jew, he's preparing Shabbat, he's preparing his food, he's preparing the plata, he's cleaning the house, he's doing everything. So what does he do? Yetzer Hara comes in. He says, listen, I've got to stop him. Look, he's going to get so much bracha, he's going to get so much parnasa, I'm going to get him angry. So you lachatz, you look at the clock, you look at your time, we're not ready yet, we wipe the kids, the time, Shabbat's coming in, everyone. You start shouting, you lose it, you get angry, but Yetzer Hara wins. Kaf HaChaim says, I guarantee you, he says, look, every time on Friday, when you're preparing for Shabbat, you have the nisayon of anger. If you hold strong and you stand and you stay calm, you look at that week, you'll be successful. You have something in that week, and the business will go. You make a good deal, or you have bracha in that week on Parnasa. And so the opposite is true, and you'll see that you lose it one Friday, you get angry, and then you see in that week you make a deal, you'll gain money, and you'll lose afterwards. He said the Parnasa is a secret. I saw also in Likutei Moharan, it says a person has to think about this every Friday. Now it's Tuesday night. Try and remember it for another 2.5 days. On Friday, there's the day to get your Parnasa. Be careful not to get angry. So that was Izarur Apam. But there's another reason for this. He says Reuven was very careful not to steal. And this is the Gemara says, Ma ya'aseh adam v'yitasher. What should a person do who wants to become rich? How do you become rich? What's the secret? What does the Gemara say? No, you know this Gemara? It's a good Gemara to know. Ma ya'aseh adam v'yitasher.
ייתן צדקה?
Very good. It's a good answer. It's not what the Gemara says. The Gemara says tzedakah tatil meimavet. Tzedakah is tremendous things. We spoke also about Masrot. But here the Gemara says, V'yoma, what should he do? Amar lahem yarbe b'schora v'yiseh v'yiten be'emunah. What does that mean? Yarbe b'schora means do a lot of business. Yarbe b'schora. V'yiseh v'yiten be'emunah means do business honestly. Be genuine. Be genuine in business. You can cheat people in business. You can't get money from them. If you want Hashem to make you rich, you got to believe in Hashem. You got to do the right things. If you're stealing, you're losing money. But Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven, which were very careful not to steal and not to let their animals graze in the borders of Eretz Yisrael where they didn't belong to them, and they made sure that they had kosher areas to graze in where it was belonged to them, and it was suitable for them. They became very rich because if you're careful with other people's money, then Hashem will be careful with your money. He'll give bracha in your money. The Gemara says, well, a lot of people did that. A lot of people did business and they were honest and they still didn't become rich. The Gemara says, Hashem says, you want to be rich? I have the money, I have the gold, I have the silver. Everything is in my pocket. You wanna be rich? Yeah. And the Gemara says, why give me 2 reasons? It's not enough. You need to do both. You need to be honest in business and you need to pray to Hashem. Then you need to ask Hashem to give you the money and you need to be honest in business. And that's what we see from Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven. And I want to share with you a beautiful story. It happened and you see one other thing over here. You see here that the Bnei Gad, they asked Moshe Rabbeinu, and he gave them way to do it. He says, it's no problem. There's a few times conditions, come in and fight with the brothers, and then after 7 years, after the Chalukat Haaretz, you can come and you can have this land. And Moshe agreed with them. You're right, it's more important to be honest and not to steal and not to have the Malak B'Shavat Israel, and you'll have bracha from it. And that's what they had, and they became very, very rich from it. So the story goes like this. There was one man who took his car to the Mosach, to the garage, to get it fixed. And the owner of the garage, he's got a few workers working for him. And he's cleaning in the car, and he's looking at the car, and he finds in the door of the car a package. He opens the bag, and in the car he finds in the bag $70,000 in cash. Now, in Israel, that's a lot of money. In England, I don't know how much is $70,000. Maybe 30 or 40,000 pounds. That's a lot of money for everybody. No, I think for anyone, it's a lot of money. Now, the guy, he takes it into his office, and he just becomes drunk from seeing this cash. His eyes, I don't know if anybody's seen that amount of cash in one shot, $70,000. And he's like, listen, what am I going to do? And he's thinking about the money. And I think this guy's going to come back and ask for his money. And he's thinking, if he comes and asks, then I'll say that, one of the workers, this Arab workers here, and, I don't know what happened. I didn't see it. Oh, and the whole place was cameras. There was cameras in the whole place of the garage, but the place where his car was and he took the money, there was no cameras. So he says, if the guy comes, I'll say, listen, I'll check the cameras and I'll see. And I'll say there's nothing, no one sees anything on the cameras. Maybe one of the workers took it and they left it. It's your fault, you should have left the money. And he says, okay, that's it. He can pocket the guilt. And if he doesn't come, then I'll just keep quiet and the money's mine. Thank God for your lucky mazal. Okay, and he puts the money in the drawer and he carries on the business. Next customer comes in, and it's a young Avrech, Talmid Chacham, studying in yeshiva. He brings his car. He says, please fix my car. And he looks at the car. He says, listen, he needs to change the brakes, or he needs to do a few tipulim, needs to do a few things to fix the car. So listen, it's going to take about 45 minutes. You can wait or come back. He says, listen, can you give me a place where I can sit down? And I want to learn. I've got my Gemara, and I want to learn Choshen Mishpat. I have a few things to learn, study. And I'm happy to wait for an hour until it's ready. I'll study. So I said, okay, listen, this is a garage. It's all dirty here. And if you want, come into the office. So he's very happy. He comes into the office and he's sitting down, opens up his Shulchan Aruch, and he starts studying and he's learning. And he's learning there for 10, 20 minutes, half an hour. And the owner comes into the office and he sees this young Avrech studying Torah. And he says, listen, I've never seen anybody come into my office and make it into a Bet Midrash, learning Torah. He said, well, maybe tell me what you're learning. What was he learning? Choshen Mishpat, Ilchot, Gezela. Listen, if you want to know, I'll tell you. And he starts speaking about Gezela, and he starts explaining to him, what about Gezel? How about this Gezel? The Dor HaMabul only had the Psak Din. The whole world was destroyed only because of Gezel. The whole flood and the times of the flood was because they stole, because of stealing, because of Gezel. And he said, that person has no bracha in it when he steals money. The money that he steals, it contaminates all the money that he has, becomes contaminated because he stole the money. He has no bracha in the money. The bracha goes away from him. His tefillot are not answered in Shemaim. He can pray for something for many, many times, many years, and his tefillot are not answered when he's stealing. And he's going all explain to me how bad it is stealing. And the guy's sitting there, and he's already decided that he's already stolen the money. And he's listening to the shiur about stealing. So what does he do? He says, thank you very much, and he goes back to his office. And I was thinking, what is he going to do? After he already decided that he's already stolen the money, he's already stolen it. Can anyone finish the story? He decided he's going to call the man of the car. He picks up the phone and he calls the man. He says, listen, you are the owner of the car. Come please quickly to my office. I have something urgent to tell you. The guy is sitting in it. He comes into his office and he sits him down. And he says to him, what are you doing? What are you thinking leaving $70,000 cash in your car? What do you think is going to happen? If some Arab takes it, could steal it. Are you crazy? He says, yeah, the money is mine. He said, why did you leave it in the car? What are you thinking about? You lost your mind. You completely, you are mafkir the money. You're totally irresponsible. He's lucky that I found it. This is the money. And he says to him, you don't understand. What should I do? He says to him, listen, I have problems with my wife, and we're going through difficult times, and I'm scared my wife is going to steal my money because we're getting divorced, and he says that's our problem. I don't want to keep it in the house because maybe she'll take it, so I thought I'd leave it in the car, and I forgot about it in the car. He said, that's not what you do with the money. This is a lot of money, and it's not how you do it. So he said, what should I do? I don't know what to do. He says to me, give it to somebody that you trust, and give it to look after the money for you. He said it was money that he got. It wasn't, he got it in cash, he didn't get it. He couldn't, it was, I can't remember that. How do you say in English? He got it b'shachor. It wasn't money that he got from business deal, and he wouldn't want to pay tax on it. And he wanted to keep it. So he said, listen, give it to someone that you trust.
Cash in hand.
Cash in hand. Okay, he got a cash in hand and didn't want to pay tax on it. And he said he left it in his car. Thank you, Gamal. He said, what should I do with it? I don't know what to do. He said, give it to someone who's trustworthy and honest. And he says, well, I don't really know. Who can I trust with $70,000? So the guy sitting in the office, he says, who can you trust? Me. And listen, I can trust me. I'm giving it back to you. I could have taken it. I could have stolen it. And I'm giving it back to you. That shows that I'm honest. And he's thinking, he said, yeah, you're right. You must be honest. Who would give back $70,000 if you could have just gone away and steal it? And you could have gone away with it. And I have no way to prove anything. You must be an honest person. I'm happy to lend it to you. He said, listen, I really need it right now. I just got also Mas Akhnasa. The income tax is on me, and I've got to pay a few debts, and I could really use this money. And whenever you want, I'm happy to pay it back to you. I'm happy to give you back the money. And they were very good. They signed it. They signed the deal. They signed the contract, and he was happy to do it. And you see, look what happens. There's a Jew, and he's willing to steal the money. He's already stolen the money. And he just learns about Gezel and how bad it is, and he changes his mind, and he says, listen, I'm not doing it that way. I'm doing it the kosher way. I'm giving back all the money. And he really needs it. He needs the money. He was waiting for something to do it. He says, I'm not doing it the kosher way. He was willing to give up everything. He's willing to give up. I'm giving it back. And Hashem says, you're doing the right thing. You're willing to give it up. Not to do it in a not kosher way, you're going to get it. You'll get it in a kosher way. And Hashem gives it back to him. And that's what happened. He took the money for a few years. After a few years, he called them back and he said, listen, I need the money now. And he arranged the money. He had baracha. And if he wouldn't have taken it, he would have stolen it. He would have taken it, lost all the money. All his money would have lost his baracha. And all the klalot and his tefillot would not be answered and everything. If you try and do something, you do it in the right way, Hashem will help you in the end. You do it in the wrong way, nothing, you're going to lose from it. But when you do the right thing, Hashem will gain from it. And that's what Bnei Gad Bnei Reuben, they wanted to do the right thing with their cattle. They became rich from it. They were honest in the business, not to steal. To be honest, and Hashem will reward you. That's the baracha. That's how to become rich. That is the second answer. Now the third answer, and this is a beautiful answer. He said, you know why they didn't want to go into Eretz Israel? They said, listen, we're here, we're together, Reuven and Gad. And who's our neighbor? Our neighbor is Shimon. We're together, Reuven, Gad, and Shimon. There was like they were packaged. There were three of them together in the south. It was Reuven, Shimon, and Gad. I think they were in the south, but they lived together. They said, if we go into Eretz Israel, we're going to be influenced by Shimon, or LaRasha, or LeShchenu, or Tov LaTzadik, but Tov LeShchenu. He said, Shimon, look at the mess that happened. Parashat Balak, Pinchas, Yeshiv et Chamati, all Bnot Moab, all the Gilui Arayot from the tribe of Shimon. He said, listen, we're scared. We don't want to be involved with such a person. We don't want to live by them. We don't want to live with him. Because he didn't withstand that temptation of the Bnot Moab, the immorality which is involved, the Gilui Arayot. We want to separate ourselves from him. But they didn't want to offend Shimon. What are they going to say? Sorry, Shimon, we don't want to be with you? They can't say that. They will be offended. So what did they do? They made up a whole story about their cattle, as if they want to go in with their cattle, they want to look after their cattle. But the main reason was L'Shem Shamayim, to look after their own Kedusha. So when they come along to Moshe Rabbeinu and they say, listen, we've got a whole agenda, we've got a reason for here. Okay, so Moshe is not going to offend him. He says, you're right, we don't want to offend somebody. See how much it's important not to offend someone else. You don't want to be next to them for a good, legitimate reason, and you do it in such a way not to offend them. So we've got three answers over here. The first answer we said was, that's really, they didn't really want to go to Eretz Israel. So that's why Moshe didn't try and convince them otherwise. Second reason, they had a very good reason because of Gezel. They didn't want to go in because of Gezel. And Moshe agreed with that. And that's why he didn't stop them. And the third reason was because they didn't want to be influenced by Shimon. And they made up the whole story not to offend him. And that's why Moshe didn't convince them. Just to look after the kovod. So that's three explanations to the questions. So we just got one question left to answer. Why is God before Reuven? And we'll end off with this. So there's two answers. I'll go ahead. One is from the Baal HaTurim. And Baal HaTurim says Reuven was the first. He was the oldest. And that's why it says, in the beginning it says, Miknei Rav haya livnei Reuven ulivnei Gad. But then it changes and it says, Vayovo bnei Gad bnei Reuven. And it changes the order. So the Baal HaTurim says, first it gives respect to Reuven, but then Gad was the strongest. They were more stronger. They had more strength. And he said, Gad, when they used to fight, they used to, in one blow, take off a person's head and his arm. And he said, the Gemara says, why? Because they were very careful with the tefillin shel yad and tefillin shel rosh, not to speak. They had strength that when they would fight in battle, they would one shot take off a head and so because they were mighty and powerful, that's why the Prophet brings them first. That's what the Baal HaTurim says. But I want to share with you clearly.
I thought that those that were speaking between Rosh and Yad actually were not allowed to go to war.
Exactly. Nachon, not allowed to go to war. Nachon. They were not allowed to go to war. Very good. But here you see they were more careful. The Kedusha, they had extra strength. The Navi says that about them as well. About the God that they were the warriors. Maybe that's why they wanted to go out. Moshe was concerned. Listen, we need you in battle. We need you to war. You're strong soldiers. They said, yeah, of course we're coming. But I want to show you Kli Yakar. And listen, this is beautiful. Kli Yakar says, you know why Bnei Gad was first? Because they were richer. They were the rich. Listen to this. They had much more cattle. Reuven had 100,000. They had the 200,000 or 300,000. They were even more rich than Reuven. And that's why it says them first. It says the Kli Yakar. Listen to this, is beautiful. Not like the Mepharshim, not just because they were rich. That means they had more cattle, so they were more concerned about their cattle. They were more concerned because they had more bigger business, or they were more scared about Gezel. That's why they wanted. That's why they came first. More than Reuben. And he says a lesson. What happens when a person becomes rich? Even though Reuven was the oldest, that is the nature of wealth. Money can go to a person's head. He says, look, I'm rich, I'm successful, look what car I drive, look where I live, look at where I go. He thinks himself more important. And the rich man thinks he's got the right to speak first. And even if someone older than him or Oven is more knowledgeable, is more older, he'll speak first because he thinks he's rich. He doesn't look at anyone. Doesn't look at anyone but go by name. Doesn't say, he goes, you don't know how rich I am. והעשיר ידוד קופץ בראש ויענה עזות. מפני כל איש אינו חולק בכבוד לבכור. That's why he did not respect his oldest. And that's why God was first. לא בשום בעלי מעלה אמיתיות, because he was. So first of all, we got to be careful with our money. And one way of doing that is by giving ma'asrot. Because if you give ma'asrot, you can't become arrogant with your money. Because you know it's not your money. Hashem gave it to you and you give him back 10%. There's no arrogance involved because it's not mine. And Hashem will continue to give you. But the reason why I want to mention this is, why was God more richer than Reuben? Why was God more richer than Reuben? And this is the beauty. And this is the lesson what we will learn. And this is how you can become rich. You know why they were richer? Who was the neighbors of God? Shimon and Reuven. Reuven was Elitzur ben Shedeur, and 250 Rabbanim from the Shevet of the Sanhedrin from Shevet Reuven. They all went with Korach. There was two main things, big averot happened in the Midbar. One was Korach and Adato, and one was with Benot Moav. Shimon, he went with Benot Moav. And that was the tribe of Shimon that they went into Giloi Arot and Avodah Zarah. And the whole tribe of Korach rebelling against Moshe. And you see, both times, God was not involved. He says, Reuven, you want to be with Korach? I'm not joining you. I'm not going to be with you. Well, you making machloket? I'm not interested. When it comes to Shimon, he was doing Giloi Arayot. He says, he invites God, come with us. We're going to have fun. We're going to go with the Benot Moav for the Zara and Giloi. God said, I'm not interested. It's the wrong thing to do. I'm not doing it. That's why God became richer than everyone else. He was not influenced by his neighbors, by surrounding. He stood strong at what was the right thing to do. That's why he merited to become richer than everyone else, because he stood by the nisayon. הוא עמד בניסיון. לכן זכה לגדולה, לכן זכה לעשירות. Because he didn't learn ממעשה לשכניו. That means if somebody has got all for his friends around him, and they're all persuading him to join him in doing averot, and he says, I'm not coming with you. And I know somebody who's very close to me, and he was a teenager, and he says on Friday night, on Erev Shabbat, all my friends were coming outside my house, and the home king said, hey, come and join us. Come and join us, we're going to the party on Shabbat. He said, I'm not coming. So you don't know how hard it was for me. It was very hard. But he would withstand that temptation to join his friends. That's why God became rich. Because if you're willing to stop and not be influenced by others for Shamayim, Hashem Shamayim HaKadosh Baruch Hu will reward you with great richness. And that's why Bnei Gad were much richer than everyone else. So, is there any questions? We'll just summarize. Is anybody with me?
Yes,
May have muted us.
Okay, thank you. So we learned a lot of things tonight, and just to summarize a few things, we learned a parasha which happened more than 2,000 years ago. Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven coming to speak to Moshe Rabbeinu. We don't want the land of Eretz Israel. We want to stay here. And we said, why is Bnei Gad before Reuven? Well, we saw that the parasha is very, very, very relevant to us today. And there's many, many things that we can learn from it, even from this episode that happened many years ago. And the Torah telling us, because something that we need to learn from it. And the first thing what we mentioned was the priorities in life. What is more important, business or Torah or mitzvot? You're here for 70 years. You go here a limited period of time. Make sure you put in the big rocks first. The most important things comes first. You don't want your life to go by and I neglected my family, I neglected my duties, I was busy, I was very successful in many things. In maybe sports, maybe in business, in arts, and took vacations. But did you put in the big rocks? First put in the big rocks and then fill in your time with all other leisures. That's the first lesson we learned. We learned someone makes decisions on impulse. Important decisions. He he's not going to get bracha in the end. And that's what Nachala mevahelet barishona, v'acharita lo tevarech. And that's why Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven, they got carried away. They saw the land. Oh, this is amazing. Well, let's live here. And then they were the first tribes to get kicked out of Eretz Yisrael, 8 generations before anyone else. But then we asked, why did Moshe Rabbeinu not try and persuade them to stay in Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael? So we gave 3 answers. One from the Goer, he didn't want to persuade them because it's extra Kedusha. You don't want extra Kedusha, we're not going to give it to you. If you want Torah, if you want Ruchani, if you want to build your Olam Ruchani, then you have to work for it. If you don't want it, okay, no one's going to persuade you otherwise. And they said Hashem didn't think that they were deserving for it. Moshe Rabbeinu cried to be in Eretz Yisrael. He prayed to tefillot. If you want that high level, you've got to pray for it. You've got to want it. You don't want it, but it's a zchut to come to the shiur. It's a zchut to learn. If you want it, Hashem will help you if you really want it. The second answer we gave was Reuven was very careful of gezer. That's why Beledu Daim. He waited al yamei ketzir chetim. He didn't take anything which wasn't his. And we said when you be careful from the gezel, he said that's more important than going to Eretz Yisrael. You can't go in and not be responsible for the cattle which Hashem gave you. Hashem gave you cattle. You're responsible not to steal. And you have to make sure they don't steal. And if you find a land which is good for them, then you have to do that. How important is stealing? And we gave the story of someone who gave back $70,000 because he understood if you steal it, it ruins all your money, contaminates it, you'd have no bracha, your tefillah is not answered in Shamayim. And he did it the kosher way, and he withstood the nisayon, not to do it in a way which was asur, and Hashem gave it to him in a way which was mutar. And he enjoyed the money. And you don't lose by doing the right thing. Even though it was very difficult for him to give back $70,000 in cash, in the end he got it without stealing. Why do you have to steal it? Hashem said, of course, you have big mazal, but you can do it in a way without stealing it. Automatically, your mind has to think how I'm going to steal it. No, think it's min Hashemayim. Give it back, and Hashem will find you a way to give it back to you. And we said when you get angry, you lose your mazal, you lose your bracha. The Yetzer Hara comes and attacks you to try and make you angry, to lose the shefa of bracha that you get, especially on Erev Shabbat, which is makor bracha Hashem, the Yetzer Hara gets you. And if you withstand and stay strong, you'll get your bracha. And we said someone who deals honestly in business, that's how you become rich. Ma ya'aseh adam v'yit asher. Deal with business honestly, v'yivakesh rachamim, and ask Hashem to give you the money. Because li hazeh kesef v'li hazahav amar Hashem. And the third answer we said was because they didn't want to be influenced by Shimon. They were scared they're going to be put next to him. And if they put next to him, they're going to be leading to immorality, like there was with Benot Moab. And they didn't want to offend him. And because not to offend him, they made up another reason. And Moshe respected that decision. He said, listen, you're right. No, don't offend Shimon. Make it for the cattle. Just make sure you got your other brothers that you fight with them. But otherwise, 100% right. And we said, why was God before Reuven? Either because he was a warrior or because he was rich. And the money got to his head and he thought he can speak first. And that's arrogance. And we have to make sure we don't become arrogant without success, without money. We have to make sure that comes from Hashem. And the main thing what we said was, how did he become rich? Why was he so blessed? Because he didn't withstand the temptation or the pressure that he had God by the neighbors of Reuven and Shimon, which were sinning. And he withstand. And when you stand for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for the right thing, Hashem uses tremendous bracha. So there's many, many lessons that we learned. I hope you enjoyed tonight's shiur. I wish you all Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Laila Tov.
Thank you, Rabbi. Chazak u'baruch.
Thank you.